All right, very good. Hi, welcome back, everybody. Between two viewers, got Meg Callie with me this week. So, how do you spell your last name? Is it
So that's
Callie?
actually my middle name. My last name is Yarnell.
Yarnell. Okay.
Yeah, I chose my Instagram name like when I was just doing Instagram for my own like personal fun, and by the time like I probably should have changed it to my real name, I didn't. So
Yeah.
my first name's Megan, and my middle name's Callie, and then my last name is actually Yarnell.
See? Wow. What a
Yeah.
great way to start. So now we know your last name. That's good.
Oh,
um, I usually drink out of someone's mug. I don't have one of your mugs. This is my friend Jesse's.
oh, that's nice.
Isn't that cool? Jessie Canale. She makes really beautiful stuff. Her stuff is like you can tell everything's really kind of
I like
thought.
that candle.
Isn't that great?
Yeah,
Everything's really well thought out.
really nice.
And I really am attracted to those type of pieces because I don't really think things out when I make stuff. I kind of slap it together.
It's funny because like I feel like you fall into like one of two camps where you're like if you're buying a mug, you're either buying it based on like what it looks like or what it feels like. And
Yeah.
like I have honestly like never once bought a mug based on how it feels. Like I will drink out of the most uncomfortable mug if it looks cool.
Yeah.
It always like it's why it's good to talk to people, right, in person because people will like pick up my mugs and I'm like, "Oh, wow, like not everybody thinks the way that I do." Like sometimes people have like different, like preferences and I think that's really interesting, but I am just like purely aesthetics. Like I'm just looking at like if it's a cool looking mug, like I want to buy it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, for me, it's mostly not really. Well, it's got to be a cool mug, but it's also for me, it's the handle.
Yeah.
And I've noticed over the years that some people are very particular. Some people are one finger, two fingers, all fingers, or no fingers. So I try to make a little bit of everything for everybody, but I'm a big one finger guy.
I don't like I definitely have handles like on mugs. Like I definitely have mugs that I prefer because they're comfortable, but like then I have mugs that I like because I like the person or I just like the way it looks. So I don't
Sure.
know. I guess like
And you
I
could
would,
drink out of anything, right? Like my buddy's
oh
the
yeah,
chef, and he
yeah,
drinks out of these things all the time in work,
yep.
But my one good friend is his. I mean, he's just a giant human being. He was a farrier.
Okay.
His name's John, so his hands like he could probably like pull off the top of my head with one hand if he wanted. He's just a
Nice. Yeah.
strong. So when he holds a mug, I mean, his one finger will barely fit in a two-finger handle because he's just a.
Oh yeah.
I had a guy years ago. He was 6'8". Him and I painted, or we hung wallpaper together. And he came to my studio and he looks at me and he goes, "Mike, what am I going to do with this?" Right? He's like, "That's a sip to me." So I literally made him like a vase and put a handle on it.
Oh nice. Yeah, some people really like the giant mugs too.
Yeah,
It's
I
just like
don't.
I mean, I like probably like a bigger mug, but it doesn't have to be like enormous.
Yeah, I don't like my coffee to get cold.
No, I don't either.
Mm.
Always,
Okay, so
always get cold.
Meg Yarnell.
Yes.
Gotcha. And you are from, where are you from? You Ohio, you said?
Toledo, Ohio.
Toledo.
Like
Okay.
Northwest Ohio.
Sweet.
Yep.
How's that? You guys, is it cold up there? You guys got some.
It's really weird here right now. We've had a weird winter. It's like 50 degrees today, but like typically it would be still really cold. But then we had like a few weeks ago, we had like 2 days where it was so cold they closed school because the wind chill was like -20.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the weather changes. Like here, we always joke like, oh, you live in Ohio and you use your heater and air conditioning in the same day.
You see the picture I put up the other day? I come down in the morning and I put my kiln on a preheat
Yeah,
site.
I saw that. I've
My-
got a little space heater behind me that I turn on sometimes.
Look, I see you using those things. Look at.
Yes, I love these.
Oh my
Very
God.
nice.
I saw these at NCECA last year. They're called
Yeah,
Fine Line, right?
yeah, the fine line.
What really brought me to them was that the metal thing inside the tip.
Yeah,
Because I was
I
so
think they're
sick
also
of.
like really comfortable to hold too. Because I also use like little squeeze bottles like
Yeah.
this, but
Yeah.
the fine line ones are definitely way more comfortable.
And they hold more product than I
Yeah.
thought. Like
Yep.
like I've been using one for quite a while on this blue, and there's still plenty
Yeah.
left. Yeah, I've been geeking out down the underglazed road lately. Here, I just pulled this out of the kiln this morning. It's a flour brick.
Oh, nice.
So it's like a kind
You
of a
use a darker clay though, don't you?
What's that?
You use a darker clay.
I do.
What kind of clay is it?
It's Laguna. It's called Junior Tile Red.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I was talking to Chris Long a few weeks ago. Chris is a big polka dot guy, and we were talking about the dots. And I said, don't you remember Matt Shyman? Do you remember Matt? Matt, oh my God. Geek out on him for a little bit. So, back in the day, his flowers were just so freaking beautiful. So I went down this rabbit hole of looking at Matt's work, and now I'm continuing to make flowers kind of in my way, kind of his way, but my way. So kind of geeking out down that road. So you teach art. You say you teach ceramics?
I do. I teach ceramics. I teach high school ceramics. This is my 4th year teaching that. I taught just general art. I taught middle school art. I taught general, like regular art at the high schools. I've kind of taught all over. I've been teaching in the public schools this is year 20 now.
Wow.
I know, right?
You're a god. So it really, really kind of warms my heart to hear that people are still teaching actually like ceramics.
Yeah, no. I mean, I teach ceramics full time. We have 4 full-time art teachers at the high school that I teach at. It's a pretty big school.
Yeah.
And pretty decent art program too.
Well, that's great news. I mean, one of my first questions for everybody is, when did you first come in to contact with clay? And a lot of people have said high school. And honestly, I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention, but I don't remember anybody offering it to me.
So I did take it in high school, but we also have this like little community. It's not really a studio. It's a nonprofit, and they do have like a ceramic studio, and they've got like gardens. It's a really unique place. It was a woman donated her property to the city, and
Wow.
I took my first pottery class. I think I was like 7-ish.
Oh, wow.
Maybe 7, 8, 9, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And it was Ann Tubbs was the teacher. I don't know if you're familiar with Ann Tubbs.
No.
She does Myolica, and she's amazing. And like, I had no idea that she was like a really well-known and respected artist.
Yep.
Until like later on in life, and I was like, oh shoot, like how lucky was that?
Yeah, that's very cool.
She's incredible. She's still a practicing artist.
Oh, wow.
And, so I was lucky enough to take a class with her, and then I did take it in high school, and I hated it. I really liked painting and drawing when I was in high school.
Uh-huh.
And I found ceramics like really frustrating. I just didn't have like the patience for it. So I went to college. I went to BGSU, Bowling Green State University in Ohio,
Yep.
as a painting major.
Okay.
And then I had to take ceramics. I don't know, it was just on my like check sheet or whatever. So I took ceramics, and I really liked it. I liked the studio because it was just like a really fun atmosphere. There were just always people in there hanging out, and
Yes.
I eventually like I would just start like showing up to hang out too, and then I would be like, well, while I'm in here, I might as well get some clay out and do something. And then my professor was like, you're gonna switch your major, and I was like, no, like I really like to paint, and then I switched.
Yeah. So you are, I think, episode 10,
Okay.
either 10 or 11, and you are the 3rd person that went to school for painting and ended up becoming a potter. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. That comes through on your surface of your pots too.
Yeah, I really like to decorate.
Yep. Yep. Me too. One of the reasons I jumped into Terra Sigillata was because I was never a big fan of just plain old glazed stuff.
Yeah.
Just one color, bloop, never was my thing. I always wanted like stuff going on the surface. Even when I was learning how to use glaze, I was, using tape resist and water etching and all sorts of crazy stuff just to make it different.
Yeah.
But now I'm experimenting with a white. Of course, I got a plain white glaze that I got. I'm like, oh great, now I'm messing with this white. Going back on my word. So you have 3 kids, is that right?
3 kids.
Very cool. How old are they?
I have 11, 9, and 6.
Wow, you're a busy lady.
It's busy. Yeah.
I
You're busy.
have 13, 15, and 16.
Oh wow, so you're busy in a different way then.
16 just got her license, so haven't seen her in 2 weeks. So
Yeah, that sounds terrifying.
it is, and at the same time, you're like, oh wow, this is great.
Yeah.
But she's just off. She's at the gym right now. He got her gym membership. She says, I'm gonna go to the gym. It is terrifying when it's snowing, though.
Oh, I bet.
You
My
know.
goddaughter lived with us for 2 years because things like with her home weren't great,
Yep.
and she was we had to wait till she was 18 to get her license. So she moved in when she was 17, moved out when she was 19, and
Yep.
so I taught her how to drive, which is scary because I'm not the best driver in the world, but
Yep.
yeah, the poor the poor thing, like she failed the test the first time, so then we got her like some private like driving hours and stuff because she never took driver's ed, and then
Yep.
it took her 3 times to pass the test, but she did pass it. But I've had like a little bit of experience like parenting a teenager, and it is scary.
It is very interesting.
Yeah.
But all my kids, like my daughter, she's got I think a 98 average.
Oh
My
wow.
stepdaughter, the one who just got her license, she's just got inducted into the National Honor Society the other night. And my stepson, he's got a 94 average and he didn't even try.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what happened because that's not the way it was when I was in school.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to show them a picture of my report card from 1984. They'd be like, you were a loser.
See, I was a good student, but I got in a lot of trouble. I actually didn't make the National Honor Society because I had too many detentions,
Oh no, that
like discipline
sucks.
referrals. Yeah, I
Well,
was a huge pain. I actually graduated from the high school that I teach at now, and my mom, when I got hired, was like, "It is a good thing no one on your hiring committee had you as a student. You never would have gotten that job."
oh, that's hilarious. I still apologize to my mother
Yeah,
to this day. Like, I am so sorry I was such a pain in the ass.
same. I was awful.
It's funny.
I was kind of teenager.
I've been sober 22 years now,
Yeah.
right? And right after getting sober, like a year and a half into it, I'm standing in her kitchen and we're just chatting about old times. And I apologized. Like I said, I'm sorry I was put you through all that stuff. And I expected her to say, "Oh, no worries, you're my baby. You grew up, blah blah blah." She looked me right in the eye and she said, "How do you think I felt watching you do that to yourself?"
Yeah.
I was blown away. It still breaks my heart to remember that, but some people got to go through it, right?
Yeah. No, I'm actually recently sober as well.
Oh,
Uh,
very good. Yep.
50 days.
50?
Yep.
Wow, very
Yeah.
good. It gets better, man. It really does.
You know, honestly, like I was having like a lot of anxiety. Like I just went through like a really tough season like around like October, November, December. And I started reading more about like alcohol and the effects on the brain and your
Yep.
body, and I realized how terrible it is for you. So it hasn't been it's actually been really easy because I feel so good.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that I love red wine, like I love it, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
really haven't missed it.
Yep.
And I was really surprised because I was like, oh man, like I didn't know that I thought it was gonna be a lot harder, I guess. I know I'm like pretty new to it, but
Yep.
I just feel so good that it hasn't been that hard.
Yeah, and I tell people that too. I said, I consider myself somewhat intelligent, and my life is so much better than it used to be. Like, I would have to be a complete moron to go backwards.
I feel like I was lied to for so long because I
Yeah.
never realized like how bad it is for you.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's
Well, alcohol is classified as a depressant.
yes, yeah.
So, and we're like, let's go drink and have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even just like the effects it has on like your gut and the there's I've been reading a lot of books and I've listened to like a few podcasts on it, and I'm like, man, no one, maybe I was just like ignorant, but no one ever talked about this to me.
Hmm.
And even like when I would go to the doctor, like I remember I went, I had COVID pretty early on, and I had like a lot of weird like brain fog, like lingering brain fog and like weird symptoms, and
Hmm.
they did all these tests, everything came back normal, but no one ever was like, "Hey, how much alcohol are you drinking?"
Yeah.
And I mean, I was definitely drinking more than the recommended amount, especially
Yeah.
during COVID. Like I'll have a couple. Like, I thought having a couple glasses of wine every night was okay. Like, I thought it was good for you.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It turns out it's so bad.
Well, didn't they were just about, a couple weeks ago, they came out and they were going to put on warning signs on alcohol saying it causes cancer.
Yeah, and that was the first time I'd heard that. Well, really, after I listened to this podcast. But everyone just acts like it's like a normal thing to do, and it's really the only drug you have to justify like not doing. Like when you tell people now, like, oh yeah, like I don't drink anymore. They're like, why?
You know what line I used to use? I would tell people I was allergic, and they would say, "What do you mean?" I say, "Well, every time I drink, I break out in handcuffs."
That's a good one too.
Oh, that's funny. I remember when I was in the Navy, right? Back in, which I just got a copy of my DD-214 the other day, but it was 1994, which was, good Lord, 30 years ago. Oh my God. And I, got in trouble, whatever, drinking, and went to this counselor guy, and because I had to, so I'm sitting there like, can we get this over with, And I'll never forget it. He looks at me and he says, when you drink, do you drink to get drunk? I said, well, yeah. Like, that's the whole point, isn't it? And he says, no. Like, what do you mean? Why else would you pour that poison into your face? It's supposed to be fun. He's like, no, you're going about it wrong, kid.
Yeah, I really thought that I needed it to like unwind, and relax, take the edge off, and then like even now I just tell myself, well, yeah, like it'll take the edge off for like 2 hours, but then I'm gonna feel like crap for the next 12. So
yeah, or a day or so, but.
And I do all these things, like I eat healthy, I'm very active. Like my husband and I, we really like to hike and we do stuff outdoors, and I'm like, why am I doing all of these like positive things and then putting like poison in my body? It just didn't make sense.
It's counterintuitive, yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of your husband, what's his name, Andy?
Andy.
No, he looks like the kind of guy I want to hang out with.
Yeah, everyone likes Andy.
Yeah, he looks like a fun guy.
He's a good one.
Good, nice.
He's coming to Utah.
Is he really?
Yeah, so we're coming with the kids a few days early, and we're gonna probably do some stuff around Salt Lake, and then Andy is taking all 3 of our kids down to southern Utah to the national parks by himself, which I was like, you're insane. Like,
wow.
He just doesn't like stress out about stuff like I do.
Yeah.
I'm like, because our youngest, our 6-year-old, like hates hiking. She hates it. She doesn't like anything, to be honest. Like, she's just, for everyone who's like, oh, have a 3rd kid, they're so chill because they just have to go with the flow. No, like our 3rd kid has not been chill for like a minute in her life. It has a lot of personality. And so I'm like, have fun with that, dude.
Wow.
That sounds terrible.
More power to him.
We've taken them like hiking a couple times. Like we went to like Oregon and Washington over the summer, so we're like trying to like ease them into it. Mm-hmm. The older 2 like will tolerate. The older 2 went on some pretty like impressive hikes. Like 4-mile hikes, like decent elevation gain. But Bayla, my youngest, absolutely not. Like she's like, my legs are tired. I hate hiking. I want to snack and so.
Why are we doing this? What's her name? How do you say your name?
Bayla.
How do you spell that?
Bayla.
That's a very cool name. Where'd that come from?
Maiden name is Balin, which is an Ashkenazi Jewish name.
So okay.
Bayla is like the Hebrew like female derivative, but it's not very common in the United States. It's common in Israel, I guess, but not here.
Yep. My wife's late husband was an Ashkenazi Jew. His dad, is still, he passed away, 31 years old of colon cancer.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, 2 kids, but all right. Well, let's move on to a more light conversation. Anyway, so I love your pots, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Are you using a black clay?
Yes. So right now I'm using the Amico dark chocolate clay.
Yeah.
And it's a stained clay. So I had been using like the dark clays that were, had a lot of like iron and manganese in them, and
fun.
I was just having such a hard time. I had just started having like all these issues with glaze flaws, and then I was having equipment issues with my kiln, and that's kind of like it just triggered my anxiety so bad, like right around like like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and I took like a 2 month break and just didn't make pottery at all.
Really?
Yeah, I was just so frustrated. And
Mm-hmm.
and usually, I mean, if you're doing ceramics, like you're pretty used to failures and frustrations, right?
Ugh. Yeah.
It's so like there's just so much science. There's so many. I was so many variables, so many variables,
Mm-hmm.
and I just feel like it was just one thing after another, and like I really needed like a win, but I wasn't getting any wins, and and that it was the glazes and the clay and the equipment.
Sorry. Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah, that's my mom trying to call. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm still listening.
And so like it just kind of like fried my brain, and I just needed to take a break. But I really like this clay. It is not as easy to throw with as some of the other clays I've been working with, but it glazes so nicely. Like I can do like a fast bisque, none of those weird like cone 04 slow, and then I can do like a cone 6 fast glaze. And I was doing like this obnoxious like drop hold cycle with the manganese and iron clays,
Uh-huh.
and so it's just so much easier to work with. I guess I'd rather have like more issues on the front end, like when I'm throwing and trimming and know like, oh, this isn't gonna work, than like do all the decorating and have it fail, after all that work.
Yes.
Because everything I was making was a second, and it was so frustrating. I don't. If you try and like refire pieces that have like the bubbling and the glaze flaws, it just doesn't.
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah, it almost never works.
Yeah.
Do you fire in a scut?
No, I have an L&L,
Okay.
and I actually ordered a new one, so I'm pretty excited.
Ooh, very cool. I used to have an L&L. I do like their grooves that hold
Yeah, they're so nice.
the elements. Those are pretty sweet.
Yes.
I have a box of new elements over here on top of my damp box, just in case. I bought them a couple years ago.
That's smart.
Freaking $400. My God.
I know.
And now what I'm probably going to do in the next few weeks is just change the what do you call those little things?
Thermocouples, relays.
The relays. I'm just going to change the relays because on the scut kiln, if you hit like review, it'll tell you everything, and it'll tell you how many firings you've had.
Yeah, same with L&L.
I have like 290 on these elements.
Ooh, yeah.
It's surprising to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't do a lot of glaze. I don't make a mess of my kiln with terracid. It's pretty simple. It's heat it up and turn it off, really.
Yeah.
But something's got to go.
I would say that's a pretty. If you got that many firings on relays, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So I think I should probably change them before I have a misfire. But
Yeah.
So I love that thing you made there. Is that holds your mugs? It's freaking genius.
No, Caitlin Brennan made this.
Caitlin Brennan.
Yeah, she's a Canadian potter, and it's called the Brennan Pottery Clamp, and she sells them. She 3D prints them. So I have two of them because I love them so much. Because you can decorate like all the sides of it without having to wait for like the other side to dry, and it's just so easy. Like it swivels and turns, and it kind of like twists to adjust to like the shape of the mugs. There's an attachment for bowls too.
Yeah, that's amazing because I was
Nice.
I was decorating this thing the other day, and I was like, trying to hold one side that I had just painted, like, then you put your finger in it, and you're like, oh great, start again.
So I love these. I seriously want like a whole table full of them.
Like 10 around a whole table.
Yeah, seriously, I would use them because
Yeah.
they're so nice.
So, and you make your own stencils, right?
Yep.
And those are reusable too?
Yeah, they are, which is really nice.
It's mind blowing. What is it made out of?
It's vinyl. It's the Vivid vinyl. It's got two V's, VVIVID.
Okay.
And yeah, so I draw the stencils in Procreate, and then I cut them out with my Cricut. And yeah, they're reusable. It's a weird vinyl because it's not like, I feel like a lot of the vinyls are like kind of stretchy and they like distort and warp, and like this one doesn't. It stays like perfect unless you like really pull at it.
And then you just stick them on there with water?
Yep.
Yeah, see, that's amazing. So I mean, I bought a Cricut. I finally broke down and bought a Cricut.
Yeah.
So I make these foam
Oh,
cutouts.
cool. Yeah.
And then I just,
What kind
I
of cricket
roll
do you
them.
have?
What's that?
What kind of cricket do you have?
It's a maker. I
Okay, so
got it on.
you got the fancy cricket.
I got it on Marketplace for $100 from somebody.
Oh, nice.
So then I'm like, I'll try it. Like I kind of fought using it for a couple of years because, there's that argument between craft and art.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, if I'm going to make texture, I'm going to make my own texture. So I would make these things here. I would make just a big giant chunk of clay and then carve texture into it,
Nice.
and then roll them into the clay,
Yeah.
which was cool and different and individualistic. But I was like, wow, I can, it's literally just another tool.
Oh, for sure.
So I fought it for too long, but I got one.
Yeah, I was hand cutting all of my before when I used porcelain, I used paper stencils, and I was hand cutting all of them out of Post-it notes for years. I did this and which is like, oh, this is working for me, so why would I do anything differently? And then when I find my school actually bought a Cricut, so I started messing around with it at school, just seeing like what I could get it to do, and I was like, oh my god, this is fantastic, like why didn't I start doing this earlier? Like I can cut like way more complicated things, and I can cut them faster, and yeah.
What I've been doing now is I'll print out like the stencils on a Cricut. So like for this, for instance, I printed out these
Nice.
leaf stencils. And then I stick them on there because it's a vinyl sticker, and then I trace it with a pencil.
Okay.
And then go back in and paint where that was, rather than the opposite. Put it on and paint around it and take it off type thing.
Yeah.
So it's really just it's just a starting point for me,
Nice.
and then I go nuts from there. But yeah, I was thinking about you the other night. I was looking up. I always do some research on people because I want to have good questions for them, and I saw the Procreate, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And you're doing a workshop for Sephora.
I did. Yeah, I did a workshop for Sephora.
Oh, you did it already. How was that?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Oh, it was great. It was awesome. I think I had 90 people sign up for it, which is insane, right? I was like, man, I'll be happy if I get 20. 20 was my goal. I'm like, yeah, if we get 20, I'm gonna be woo, thrilled.
Yeah.
When she told me, she's like, oh yeah, you have 90 people. I'm like, what?
Nice. Let's go.
Crazy.
That's cool. I'm doing one with her in March.
Nice.
Yeah, doing a hand building thing. She seems really sweet.
Oh, she's great. Yeah, it was super easy, really fun. It was really smooth.
And it's just a split, right? She's like, I'll just split it with you. It wasn't like a percentage, which is very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, she does all of the administrative stuff, sending out the emails and which I'm like, yep, cool.
She seems like a go-getter, that one.
Yeah.
She does not mess around.
Great. That was a really good experience.
I just did 2 also. I did one for Ceramics Monthly for...
oh, nice.
That was fun. I had 65 people on that one. And that surprised me too, because I was the same as you. I'm like, nobody's going to sign up.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think the Procreate one was general enough that a lot of people were like, oh, this is a cool thing. It's not as niche as some of the stuff that I would do. So it would apply to a lot of people. But and I think I get a lot of questions about Procreate on Instagram and stuff.
yeah.
And I mean, I am not a Procreate expert. I've only been using it for 2 years, and what I do with it is very basic. It's a really cool app, but I struggled with it at first, and I wish there was a tutorial kind of what I had done, because I learned a lot of that the hard way. Because a lot of people are using it to make really realistic and detailed drawings and stuff, and I was like, oh, I'm just trying to make a stencil,
Yeah.
But it's a cool program. It kind of makes my brain feel itchy, because I feel I just draw the same line 50 times and I still don't like it, and a lot of times I don't know that I don't like it until I get it on a pot, and then I'm like, oh, there's something I want to change, which is so annoying.
I saw, I can't remember his name. It was about 10 years ago. I live close to Alfred University, and I know a bunch of people that work there, so I go down there all the time. I get my clay from there, and I got some friends there, so they let me know when good artists are coming to do demos. And I went and I saw, and thinking about this the other night to tell you this story, and I can't remember the guy's name. Oh, got it. See, Mark Ferris.
Okay.
Mark, he's pretty famous. He makes really amazing
I
teapots.
know the name.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff. But I got to watch him, and what he does is he makes designs his pottery on a CAD program, like those construction programs,
Yeah.
and he'll make it 3D, and then he just hits this button called unfold, and it just takes his pot and goes boop 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 boop, and it's flat, and then he just prints it out, and then puts it on. He puts it on tar paper, traces it, cuts it out, cuts it into a slab, folds it all back up, and then takes the tar paper off.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Like, that's genius.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh my God, I could do that. I got to try that. So I went home, I got a CAD program, and nope, it's way harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yep. I had some guy like comment on my Instagram like last year, and he like, I don't even know who he was, but he was just like, remember when people actually made things themselves or something? And I was like, hey, like, I tried to engage with him a little bit. I was like, you do realize that I'm actually like drawing the stencils and like making the pots. And,
Yeah.
like, I wish this was as easy as you thought it was, but it actually super like time consuming and labor intensive. And he just didn't want to have a conversation. He just wanted to be mad.
Yep. There's the gall of people these days is ridiculous.
Yeah, it blows my mind that someone would take time out of their day to like comment something mean. And I don't get very many. Like 99.9% of the people I interact with on social media are like the coolest people you've ever met.
Yep.
And I like to help. I love to answer questions. But that like I don't know, there's some like entitlement like where I saw a recent thing that you had posted and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like imagine you actually having a life and like
Yeah. Oh, I wrote her a very interesting message back, you know.
sometimes I just don't see stuff too. Like I miss things because I don't know, like I'm not like looking at my Instagram with like a microscope and I forget to check. Like or maybe you got something going on. Like it's just like I do have
three kids. Yeah.
But I also have a life outside of Instagram.
Yes. And that's what I wrote her back. I was like, first of all, I did answer your question. It didn't go through. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I was like, second of all, I have a life. I have 3 kids, 2 dogs, 2 cats, another job.
Yeah.
I said, but go ahead, fire away, and I'll make sure to tell my family that I can't go with them tomorrow because I have to sit around just in case you want to ask me a question.
Did they respond back?
I was so mad. No, my wife wouldn't let me send it.
That's like my husband's the same way. He's just like he thinks that I get like really like he's like you're fixating, and I'm like oh, but I'm so mad right now.
Yeah. So I actually I just went in and blocked her, right?
That's smart.
And then I felt bad about it, of course. So I went back and unblocked her and I sent her a message and I sent a message saying, look, at first I was so completely offended that I was just going to block you because I can't believe you said that to me. But, and then I sent it and I was proud of myself. And then I go check it like an hour later and it says she doesn't receive messages.
Oh, no.
Like, oh, darn it.
Oh, that's
well. So whatever. People are people. But anyway. I love your stuff. I love what you do. So, and you're pretty busy. I mean, you make a lot of pots, right?
I think it's deceptive. I don't really think I make that many, but I don't know. I think that I'm like really good at using what time I have. And like I honestly, until I had like my anxiety breakdown, like I really love any time I can get in my studio. So
yeah.
And having 3 kids and working full time, like you have to be creative about that time. So I think because like I love it and I enjoy it, like I've got like a pretty good rhythm set up too, and you just get to be more efficient, when you have young kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, because I got a quick minute. Let me go do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my studio's in my basement, so I mean I can just come down here and work for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or check on something, which is really convenient.
Yeah, and once you have a system, it doesn't take that long. Like, You know, I was worried about when I switched from wheel throwing to hand building, and I can make a pot hand building in probably just as fast as I could throw it, if not faster. You know what I mean? Like I could throw the body really fast, but then it's got to sit there for a day till I can mess with it.
Yeah.
Or half a day. That's one of the things I talked to Phil Harlem about on our podcast was the ability, which took me a while to figure out, the ability to just leave it alone.
That's it, yeah.
Right? That took me years to figure out.
Yeah.
Just let it sit there, let it get cheese hard.
Yep.
You know, I have a table that I'm sitting at right now. I got 2 tables that I had a guy make for me. And we made them with backer board. You know, the stuff that goes behind tile, right?
Yeah.
So I'll just cut out slabs, lay them on the backer board, and then just leave for a couple hours and come back and they're perfect.
Nice.
And I'm like, okay, now I can mess with this. And I honestly, I have to leave. Like,
Yeah.
if I sit here, I'm gonna mess with it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, there's so many times where I come down here and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna check on this one thing, and the next thing I know, it's been like a half hour, and I'm like, ah.
Yeah, and you ruined it. Yeah. You know, it's this. I got to leave this because I'm gonna mess with that.
Yeah. I'm always trimming things like, I'm like, well, I got time. Oh, nice.
Well, I was gonna build it up to be like a teapot, but I was like, I'll just make it a box. So I'll come back in and cut that later and make it into a box.
Nice.
But yeah, I gotta finish this. Speaking of which, this is what I left like an hour ago. Was this thing? So I've been messing with like bigger rims. Hold on, I gotta do the flip here. I did 2 of them today. Made this one. So like, I love making big giant serving dishes.
Yeah.
I love when people take my pots to a party.
Yeah. That's
Full of a salad or something, and people go, that's a cool bowl, you know? Or being at a party and somebody brings my bowl and they're like, oh, he made it. Because people, they know that what I do for a living is I'm a golf pro. And they're like, wait, you made that? Like, aha. But I'll show you the difference. Like, here's you'll appreciate this, I think. I've been messing with these just kind of really textured, a lot of textured, like, bowls.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Love it. Good size bowl, but I don't like the tiny kind of slab rim.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's good, it's functional, but
Yeah.
it doesn't look substantial enough. So I've been adding this giant foot to the rim.
I like that.
Yeah, it gives it a little more beef, you know?
Yeah.
Makes you feel like you can really mix up some pancakes in there and not be worried about cracking the rim, you know?
Yeah.
So what else do you make besides mugs? You make a lot of mugs, right?
I make a lot of mugs. I make cups. I make little jars, vases, planters. I started making these little trays. Then I make like little ornaments and magnets and pins, but I don't really sell those online. I just sell them at like in-person things. I like to have things at like different price points.
What do you like to make the most?
Oh man, I don't know. It kind of changes. I mean, probably mugs, because I think mugs are like, they present the most like design challenges, because there's so many different things you have to think about when you're decorating them. But I really like to make little jars.
Mm-hmm.
They don't sell very well though, but I like to make them.
You got any done mugs there you can show us?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see. I want to see your handle. Are you a handle puller or?
I pull handles. I pull my handles and then I let them set up a little bit and then I attach them. So here's a done mug. Here's my. People say my handles are kind of weird.
What? Why?
I don't know. They're like the upside down ones.
Oh, whatever. Oh, those are beautiful.
Thanks.
Did you glaze just the rim?
Yeah. And there's a liner glaze on there too, like a clear liner.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
A lot of it ends up being like just the clay body, and I sand the whole thing like after it's out of the cone 6. Yeah. And then I put a little mineral oil on it too.
Oh, okay.
Which I mean probably does wash. Everyone's like, oh, does it wash off? It probably does eventually wash off, but it makes it look nice for a while. And if it's not something that you're like putting in the dishwasher all the time, like it stays on for a while. It gives it like a little patina.
I just started messing with, actually yesterday, somebody sent me a thing about a borax wash.
Oh.
And I was like, I got a friend that does that, but I haven't done that in a while. So I had some pieces and I just did a quick mix of borax wash and stuck them in the kiln last night and didn't do anything.
Oh, I've never
I
heard of
was so
that.
excited. Like, I can't wait to see what this does. It didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So I have to experiment. I think I need to make the borax a little bit stronger. But have you tried that liquid quartz? Have you seen me playing with that?
I've tried it.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it does yet, though.
Cool. It's a cool product.
It's good for exteriors, and it claims that it's food safe.
I put it on a ton of pots, and it could have been an application error on my part, but I didn't like. They looked like really dry and matte, and I ended up firing it off of all of them, and I haven't used it since.
Really?
Yeah.
I use it on the exteriors because of the terracige.
Yeah.
It soaks in, and then once it dries, you never know it was there.
I didn't like how it looked.
Well, I'm curious. I want to send them an email because they say it's food safe, and I'm like,
Yeah.
are you sure? Because people are buying these
There's a lot of controversy surrounding that product, but I mean, it is cool. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Not for me.
I know Rose Katz. Do you know Rose from?
I don't know her, but I do listen to their podcast.
Yeah, her and Matt are just geniuses.
Yes.
Rose and I used to work together at a tile factory back in the day. So.
Oh, cool.
I sent her a message the other day. I said, "What can you tell me about this liquid quartz?" And she said, "It's made to seal countertops."
Mm-hmm. It seems like it's a different product that they're just like labeling in a different way and upcharging a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. It's a cool product.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to play with. I've tried so much stuff. And to me, like, I teach that, and I just taught a workshop at Aramont, and I'm like, you can learn so much just by winging it. Or not winging it, but do a little research. Figure out, like, mix your own clay. Like, give it a shot, fire it. What's the worst that can happen, right?
Yeah.
Play. I really try to teach people to just go out there and try. Give it a shot. Mix a glaze. Like my buddy Matt from Alaska sent me. He had a really cool green glaze. And I was like, oh, dude, I love that glaze. Of course, he's a potter, so he's like, sure, I'll send you the recipe, right? Mm-hmm. So he emails it to me, and I'm like, oh, sweet. And I go down to my buddy at the university, and I get a bucket full, and I make it and mix it and fire it. And it was like, nope. Yeah, not even close, So then I'm like, okay, well, what's your clay body? And he told me his clay body. So I went and made a bucket of clay because, it's pretty easy to make clay.
Yeah.
And then I, threw some mugs with his clay body, dipped it in that glaze, fired it, and nope. Swing and a miss, But that's how you learn as far as I know.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Just keep trying shit.
Yep.
What's the worst that can happen? I tell my kids that all the time. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Okay, so I asked you what your favorite thing was to make. What's your least favorite thing to make? Is there a least favorite thing?
I don't know if I really have a least favorite thing.
Or how about what's your least favorite process in the ceramic studio?
It used to be glazing when I was working with the porcelain, because I, made my own glazes and I was, waxing and like dipping. But I don't do that anymore. So probably like the sanding and polishing now is like, it's not fun. It's
Yeah. It's worth it.
Makes it look nice, makes it feel nice, so it's worth it.
Yeah. For me, it's the black wash because every time something comes out of the bisque, I just want to keep making stuff. And I can't. I got a whole table full of stuff that needs the exact same process. It becomes, the same to me, and I'm not a fan of that.
Yes. I don't love drawing and Procreate either, but I love the result. I have to like force myself to sit down and do it. I think it's kind of like a fine line that you balance between like research and development and making, because I too just want to make. I want to decorate the pots.
Sure.
I don't want to like, it feels like you're taking a step backwards,
Yeah.
but you're really not, but it feels like that at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And I'm like very guilty of just going like full steam ahead, and like, it bites me every time because I
Yeah.
don't test enough, and you think I would have learned by now, but I haven't.
My ex used to say, "Just make test tiles," and I was like, "No."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. That's fine.
honestly,
I don't want to make test tile.
no. Honestly, still to this day, my test tiles are mugs. And
I make a lot. Like I do the little trays, and that's been like so. If I'm testing like a new design or something, like I'll make it on like a tray because that's a pretty like low like risk. It
yeah,
doesn't take me that long to make, and
yeah, yeah, yeah. I just did a tile here yesterday. I had a clear, and I wanted to see what the clear did over the underglazes, so I just painted it and cleared it. And I was
oh,
like,
nice.
I mean, it sucked, but it's like, meh, it kind of kills the colors to me, and
Yeah,
it's kind of all everything I'm against in my in my own ceramics, I guess. I don't know, but I think, but then again, there you go. It's just like, well, what the hell? Why not try it, right?
yep,
So I can take a part of that and I could do some tape resist and do some clear mixed in with other glazes,
hmm,
right? Maybe just on the body and do maybe clear squares all over a jar or something. But and then to me that's the fun. I love when you get that when you find something and you're like, oh wow, I can do all this stuff with that.
yeah,
I can combine these two glazes and do that and then do this and then that and then that's when you can't sleep at night.
yeah, yes, yep.
You know what I'm
No,
saying? When you're just,
when you're just like the ideas are developing like faster than you can make them. It's fun.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Where you got to have a piece of paper and a pencil next to the bed, or else you're
Yeah.
gonna lose your mind. So, geez, I'm awful popular today. All of a sudden, like nobody texts me. I sat here in this spot all day making stuff. Nobody. Anyway, let's see what else. So you found. So you said what was your teacher's name? The lady that's still making pots.
And Tubbs.
How do you spell that?
ANNTUBBS.
Tubbs. Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Um,
She's like Myolica. So, she's not Ann Tubbs on Instagram. It's like MAI Myolica, not the MAJ version.
oh, okay. So that's the correct way to say it instead of Majolica, right?
Yeah.
I've always said that wrong, I think. Hold on here.
Oh, I am not great with like spelling and also pronunciation. So
I had a buddy make me a tool. I got a buddy who's like a metal worker. So I had one of these. Oh, you've probably seen the other one here. Let's see, where is it? It's a foot tool from Seam.
yeah.
This
I never know how to say that. I'm always terrified. Oh yeah, those are cool.
I thought it was Zyam. I think it's Seam.
Gem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exum, who knows?
Yeah.
So this makes a really cool little foot ring, and I use it for the bottom of bowls, and sometimes, and I actually use it for the flange on the inside of a lid.
Yeah.
So I took some nails over to his house the other day, and he welded them together.
Oh, nice.
So now it just makes a big
Yeah.
giant foot. So now I'm geeking out to big feet right now. And he's like, "I'll make you a bigger one." I'm like, "Okay, it's okay." Yeah, I watch guys that like make giant things, and I'm like, "Man, you must go through a lot of clay."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
geez, man, that's a lot of clay. I don't know. I get anxiety when I start to go through clay too fast. Even though, like I told Wes Brown the other day, I have 12 boxes of clay right there. But once I get to the bottom of a bag, I'm like, I gotta do some reclaim.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of the same way, especially now that I've been this Amico clay, like I'm almost out of it. I don't really want to ship it now because it's cold. I don't want it to freeze. So
Yeah.
like,
So where do you sell most of your work? Do you do a lot of online sales? You do galleries? What do you do mostly?
probably mostly on Etsy, and then I also do like some gallery sales. I do one local, like at the Toledo Art Museum, they have like a little gift shop. So that's the
Uh-huh.
only place that I have like an ongoing consignment with. Um, and then I do a few in-person shows a year. Not very many. I'd like to do more. I like in-person. It's just
Yeah, me too.
I do the Michiana Pottery Tour. I've done
Yeah, I
that the
saw
past
that.
few years. Yeah, and that's really fun. And then we do that pop-up at NCECA where the pot stars.
Yep. Yep. I'm hoping
That's
Tony Young invites me to that one of these years.
yeah, I was lucky to get invited, but now it's like I think it's a tough that we did like a voting thing
Yep.
and it's yeah,
You know,
I'm not one of the founding members, so I have like no say, but there's a lot of people in it now.
it's funny. I applied to be part of the Mud Ties pop up there.
Yeah.
And I even know a guy who's part of Mud Ties. And he's like, oh, dude, I'm so excited to see your name in there. I'm like, sweet, I'll get in. And he's like, yeah, you didn't make it. I'm like,
Well, I
what?
think I got rejected from. So I think like a few years ago they had put something out like asking for people. Oh, are you interested in this? And I just expressed interest. I didn't know that I was like applying to be in it, but they rejected me. So I was like, oh, like you rejected me, and I didn't even know that I was applying.
Wait. No, I didn't want to apply.
I was just looking. I thought they were like asking like, oh, do you want more information about it? I was like, yeah, like I'm curious, like what's this about? And then they were like, no, you didn't get it.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, gosh.
Like, ouch.
Um, how much fun is Tony Young? Like, so he's another guy like I saw at NCECA
Yeah.
there. And I'm like, I got to go talk to this guy because we kind of chat on Instagram. And I went to say hi, and he's like, yeah, there's too many people.
He's my best bro. Tony and
Is
I have
he?
been friends since undergrad.
Oh, no
We
kidding.
were at each other's weddings. So like I've known him since we were like I don't know, like 19 years old, and
Oh, no kidding.
yeah, so I've been friends with him for a really long time. He's a good bro.
He reminds me, well, he just seems like kind of like your husband, Andy. He just seems like a dude I want to
Oh
hang
yeah.
out with.
No, him and Andy get along really well. They
Yeah.
have a very similar temperament. He's just Tony's just real chill, but like also like he's an easy person to talk to, but he's very. We always joke that like if I had like the confidence that Tony has like in his pinky finger, like I could take over the world. Like he's not in an arrogant way. Like he's just
He's intense, huh?
not he's not intense. He's just I don't know, like he's not afraid to put himself out there. Like he'll like approach people and ask, oh, you want to do a trade or oh, like and I would like I'm like, oh, I would never do that. Like I'm so scared of like what their reaction would be. But like Tony, and then when he gets like shot down, like he's just like, oh well,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
That's funny. I tell my daughter that all the time. Like the worst they can say is no,
right,
right?
yeah.
That
But I
I feel.
still am like, no, maybe then I'll just think about it for the next 10 years. I'm like I can't let it go. Like
Tony
I
and I
can't
we just did
personally.
a collab, two collabs actually. But he was so freaking. He had so many collaborations. It took him like 2 years to get to my
Oh,
pot.
he's always doing a collab with somebody. Like he's always got something going on.
And I'm the most laid back person. I saw him in Inseek. He's like, dude, I promise I'll get to your pot. I'm like, dude, it's really
Yeah.
okay. It's all right. But he seems like
Yeah,
a guy.
he's a full time ceramics teacher too.
Yeah. Yep. He's a high school teacher too, right?
Yep.
Yep. I love his stuff too. It's pretty. I love that. Like, there's action on every piece of the pot.
Oh
I
yeah.
like. There's not a dead
It's
spot.
funny because when we were in undergrad together, he just did sculpture. He didn't do pots at all. So nothing functional. He made these like big trophies, and like I mean, we were always messing with each other. Like I was always teasing him because he used to work at Abercrombie. He's gonna kill me for saying that. I always joke about that.
Uh-huh.
I'll comment all the time about on his like posts like, oh, did you learn that at your job at Abercrombie? But
Dude,
like he
I'm
did
gonna,
actually
I'm gonna
there.
message him once as soon as we get off.
Oh yeah, no, he's gonna. The best thing about Tony though is like him and I are pretty similar. Like we don't really get offended. Like you can tease me about anything, I really don't care. Tony's kind of the same way. Like
Yeah.
he's one of those people that can give it and take it. Like he really just doesn't care when you mess around with him. Like
Good, because I'm gonna mess around with him.
do it. Bro loves what when we were in Speak Up before I gave up the wine a few years ago, we were all like hanging out afterwards and I was like, hey Tony, stop and pick me up a bottle of red wine on your way, like we were going back to their Airbnb. And do you know what he got me was a
Did he get you a
bottle
box?
of blackberry arbor mist. And I think I sent a picture of it to his wife, and I was like, Sarah, like what? This is sugar. Like this isn't wine. This is like. And Tony's like, I just grabbed the first wine I could find. I'm like, what were you thinking? So now that's the joke. Like he's always like, oh, how many Arbor? We drank it. It was disgusting.
Yeah. We used to drink Boone's Farm back in the day.
Yeah,
Remember
that's
that?
basically what Arbor Mist is.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that's funny. I got my next door neighbor. He's a ball buster, and he's always ripping on me. And running a golf course, it's kind of my job is to just rip on people like all day long. So I saw my buddy Joe the other day, and I looked. He's been eating better, and he looks good. And so I looked over at him. I said, Joe, you look fantastic. I said, but now I can't throw any fat jokes at you anymore. I said, but good thing you're still ugly. And he just gave me the finger and walked away. That's love. So you do a lot of Etsy, huh?
Yeah, I'm still on Etsy. I know some people aren't a fan, but it's just easy, and it's really just easy. That's why I also am part of their like creator program, so I get a commission for like every like sale I drive through them. So when I send out like my newsletter saying I'm doing a shop update, if people click on that link, I get a commission from it. So that basically pays almost all of my fees.
Oh, wow.
And if they ever get rid of that, I will maybe look at doing like Square or one of the other ones, just because, with Etsy, like they own your customer base, like you're not collecting like emails and.
Yeah.
I mean, there's pros and cons, but it's really easy, and I don't have the mental capacity at this point to build a website and do.
So like I said, I know a bunch of people that work at Alfred, and I knew a bunch of artists that went through there, and I remember talking to one of them back in the day, and I said, how come you guys don't teach? You would think you would have to graduate as an artist, you would have to have a small business class, right? You would because they make you into an artist, right? Yeah. They teach you all and then they just set you free.
So I kind of did. We had to take a professional practices class when I was in school.
Yeah.
And it kind of went through, I mean, not really selling online, but they did talk about like, writing an artist statement and how like marketing your work and different like avenues but the thing is, everything that I learned in undergrad is obsolete now because none of that stuff existed. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I took my BFA show on slide film. It's just like all of. So whenever when I teach people Procreate, like I tell them, like, I didn't grow up with this. This didn't come naturally to me. Like I had to learn it too. It's just anyone can learn it. It's just if you want to spend the time doing it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's tough to do all that extra work, and then like you say, as an artist, really all you want to do is just make pots.
Yep.
And yeah. I always thought about doing sculpture and stuff. And like my friend Marshall, I made a big thick plate. It's like a hollow plate, and he says you need to make that 4 times bigger than that. I'm like, well, first of all, can I? Yeah, but it'll take up half my kiln. It'll take 3 bags of clay, and I'm not going to make it unless somebody's ordered it or something.
Right.
Because otherwise, it's going to sit there.
With ceramics, like when people ask for advice, I'm always like, well, you got to define your goals because there's so many different routes you can go with it. You can do like craft shows, in-person stuff. You can sell online. You can do, gallery sales, consignment. You can teach. You can do like the, bigger sculptures. You can do, more like your basic everyday, pots. And I think you have to decide, like, when I'm thinking about my pots, like, what am I going for here? And like, I mean, really, like, I want, my mug to be like somebody's like go-to coffee mug.
Mm-hmm.
So you're working there, like, trying not to have like a price point that's too high that somebody's going to be afraid to use it and it's just going to sit on a shelf. And
yeah,
but also like priced high enough that you're valuing, you know, the time and the effort that you put into it. So it's just kind of like a fine balance.
Yeah, and that's really difficult. That's something I touch on with people a lot on this podcast. Actually, is I mean, one of the hardest things I think for anyone is pricing work.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you're going to sell it at a gallery. I got a big bowl up on the shelf that I was going to ship off to a gallery, and I would probably sell it for $250, and which means they would get 125, and it would cost me 50 to ship it.
Yeah.
So I'd end up getting $75 out of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I think one thing that people need to realize, or aspiring potters need to realize, is no matter what you want to do, whether it's teach or whatever, it all requires work. Yeah. Like I think people think that, you know, the potters are just good at making pots. It's like the guy that was telling you, oh, geez, you remember when people used to make things? That guy busting your chops. It's like, well, you know how you don't even know how much work went behind this. There's
so much work.
There's so much work, and there's so many years of trying and failing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Isaac Shu, you know, he's kind of meh, whatever, but like he every once in a while he'll say something smart. And I was listening to, I think he was on the Maker's Playbook, and he was talking about like the people that you see like on Instagram have like failed more times than you've tried.
Oh yeah.
And like that's so true. I've tried to be better about showing my failures. I'm just kidding. Isaac is one of my really good friends. I just like to give him a hard time too.
Oh, good.
No, that would have been awkward. No, I love to give him a hard time.
Okay, good.
But
I gotta get him on the show.
So, you know, and I've tried to be better about like sharing my failures, because I don't know, trying to be like real on the internet and stuff. But and all the testing, oh my gosh, so much testing. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I just have like boxes of stuff that I've tested and oh, this didn't work. And
yeah, I was thinking about that today actually after I opened a kiln, and there's an interesting question. When you open a kiln, mm-hmm. let's say there's 20 pieces in it. Yeah. How many of those 20 do you like?
It depends. I mean, I'm pretty fussy and pretty picky.
Yeah.
So I'm probably my own worst critic. But I feel like lately, like everything was a second, and I was just getting so frustrated. Mm-hmm. And that's why I just had to take a break.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know. I'm planning on firing like pretty soon.
shoot me a text and write like 6.
Zero out of 20. Because sometimes it feels like that.
It sure does. Like sometimes, I mean, for me, I think it's almost every single time I open the kiln, I go, God, what a friggin' waste of time that was. And people love them. They go, that's beautiful. I'm like, wow, gosh, no, it's not. No, it's not what I wanted. But then that's what we're talking about with the work. You just keep making.
Yep.
Right? Just keep making, and better pots will come, right?
Yep.
Because you have to make shitty pots to make good pots.
Oh, for sure. And when I look at where I was even like a year ago compared to where I am now, like I think it's important to like acknowledge growth. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I have really come a long way. And to give yourself grace, like this is a whole new body of work for me. You know, I moved from porcelain and doing like a combination of surface decoration to a completely new thing. And I expected to still be, you know, like here with my comfort level. And I wasn't. It just kept knocking me down more because it wasn't like I had worked with that porcelain for, you know, like 10 years. So I was very like, I knew what it did. I knew how to fire it and how to decorate it. And then this clay, oh my gosh.
And now you're going to switch clay again?
I think I'm going to stick with this Amico clay. I think I can't with the other stuff because it's making me too crazy. It's just not worth it.
Yeah. I love my clay. It took me a little while to find it, and now I don't know if they're going to be having it all the time. So I finally found the recipe because my clay, you can only get at Alfred University.
Okay.
So my buddy runs the clay shop, and he's like, you might want to find other clay. I'm like, no way. Like, I know exactly what it does.
Yeah, well, that's what, with the porcelain that I had been using for so long, it was this really beautiful growling porcelain that Columbus Clay, which is in Ohio, it's like a smaller clay supplier. So they made it, and then they all of a sudden just quit making it.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, you can order like a custom batch of it. It's like 3,000 pounds.
And wait, what? Yeah.
Like, so then I was like, well, I have to switch clays, and should I test all these porcelains? And then I had done the Imposters show?
Yeah.
So I had done that, and the person I was assigned had like brownish clay body, but like not super dark. So I had to buy, the speckled brown clay body, and then I had like 25 pounds left after I made my cups for the show, and I was like, oh, like I'm just gonna play around with it, just have some fun, just try some things. So I did kind of what I was doing on the porcelain on that clay body, and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like, I wonder what it would look like on a darker clay body. So then I got an even darker clay body, and I started and then I was like, well, I didn't really like how the carving looked on it because I was doing like a lot of carving and inlay. So I was like, what if I just made like different stencils? And so then it was like a rabbit hole, right? Where I went down this whole I never expected to do that. I wasn't planning on doing it, but it was fun, and I was kind of getting bored with the stuff that I'd been doing for a while. Like I just felt like I couldn't push it any further. And then I thought porcelain was hard to work with, and oh my god, this dark clay has just been one heartbreak after another.
I want to do that imposter show. That looks like fun.
It is fun. It's a lot of work because, I mean, I wouldn't say that it's a great it's great for creativity, but I mean you're buying sometimes a lot of new materials. I mean, I'd buy 50 pounds of clay, different glazes.
Yeah.
And so that unless you're selling these cups for $500, the time invested in it isn't necessarily it's a really cool show to participate in if you've got the time to do it.
I just got invited to be a part of the Flower City Invitational up in Rochester.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a good one. Nice. I'm excited to be a part of that. Actually, Wes Brown invited me. He was on the show the other day.
That's awesome.
And it's an honor because I used to go as an early potter. I would go to that show every year and see some of my favorite potters. And so to be a part of it, it's just really feels like it's coming full circle,
Yeah.
But you need 50 to 70 pots.
That's a lot of pots.
Yeah. And, you want them to be good.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to bring seconds, right?
Right.
And I start work April 15th. So the show is in October. So I have to have everything done by April 15th.
Oof.
Yeah. So now I'm like, oh, crap. I was having fun in the studio. Now I got to work.
Yeah. I feel like because I took that break for 2 months, I feel a little bit overwhelmed right now. I am not very behind. And of course, everything comes at once where, I get invited to things and then I've got other deadlines that I've committed to. And it's stressing me out a little bit, and I keep telling them I'm not gonna let this stress me out. I'm doing this for fun. I'm doing this because I like it.
Yeah. It's not. That's honestly, that's one of the only reasons I want to do it for a living, but at the same time, it would kind of ruin everything. I think.
Nope.
Nope.
Not even a little bit of desire there.
Yeah. No. Because then it's then you're like, oh crap, I gotta make mugs. And I don't know about you, but I'm 54 years old now, and if I sit down and throw 15 mugs, that's about as far as I'm getting.
Yep.
And I used to throw 30, 40. So, but what was I say? Oh yeah, so the work behind it, right? I just signed up to teach a class down in Wilmington in April. Go teach a workshop, and I love that. It's kind of what I live for. I love going to show people how to make pots and have more fun and show them how to coil build and.
Same.
Yes.
I like teaching a lot. It's fun.
It's fun, right? And but the work, we were just talking about that. There's always work behind it. They're like, oh, you got to write a syllabus and a materials list. And it's I can't just show up with a bag of tools and smile. Let's make pots. No, we're not going to. Well, you can, but we won't pay you for that.
No, right. I know.
Yeah. All right. We're over an hour. This is fun. I can talk to you forever. So we got to finish up, darn it. I don't want to. I'm going to go eat, though. I'm starving. What time is it?
No, I'm hungry, too.
So, SpaghettiOs.
Nope, that's just the 6-year-old.
All right.
I got mistrone simmering up there.
Oh, sweet. Oh, my God. My wife made homemade beans and greens yesterday.
Ooh.
But she put, our friend's breakfast sausage in it. Oh, my God.
Oh, nice.
It was just to die for. So... tell us a couple of places we can buy your work, and if you have any shows coming up first, you can do a couple of plugs.
So I have an Etsy. I've got a couple things on there, and then coming up, I've got the Imposters, we used to be Imposters, Pot Stars pop up.
Yep.
And I've got a couple. I'm gonna do Mug Madness.
Oh yeah.
This with Saltstone, so I'll have a mug in that in March, and then I'll have some stuff in April in May and June coming up.
Okay, so keep an eye out, right? Keep an eye out for
Yeah.
Mug Madness. I think I did that last year. That's a good little show.
It's fun.
I love
It's
the way
really,
they do the face-offs.
yeah.
I think
Yep.
it's a lot of them where you can
Yeah.
like vote on it. I think that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Awesome. So you got to leave us with a great tip. As a ceramics teacher, I'm sure you have tons.
Well, I can tell you what I tell my students every single day, and they love when I give them advice. That's sarcasm. They don't. But, they're always complaining to me about stuff, and I'm like, listen, you cannot control other people, but you can control your reaction to the situation. So,
Yep, that's
yeah.
a fact. That's a huge fact. Sometimes it's way harder,
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
like we talked about earlier. But yeah, everything is what you make it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, great one. I appreciate that. Meg Yarnell, not Meg Callie, right?
It can be Meg Callie too. I think a lot of people think that's my name, which is fine.
Are you
It is.
on
Some people
Etsy
think
as Meg Yarnell?
Yarnell. It's Yarnell.
Yarnell? Are you on Etsy as Yarnell?
I think I'm on everything as Meg Callie,
Oh,
but
okay. Well, sweet. So then I feel privileged because now I'm going to giggle when people call you the wrong name. You don't know her at all. Very good. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I love
yeah,
your
thanks for
pots.
having me. This was fun.
Yeah, very cool. Enjoy
Cool.
yourself. I'll see you soon. Be cool. I'll hit stop here. We can chat for a second after, all right?
All right, cool.
Bye, everybody. Stay tuned for Between Two Viewers. Wait, who's here? Kate Maratz on Thursday.
Nice.
Yes, I'm excited to chat with her. So, bye, y'all.